It is Tuesday night. Payday is Thursday. You open your banking app and do the little sum in your head. Petrol, the Woolies shop, that direct debit that clears tomorrow. Will it all fit? You are not broke. Exactly. You earn a decent wage. But there is nothing spare. There is never anything spare. And you find yourself wondering, at what point does this feeling ever stop? What salary makes it go away? What age? Because surely there is a number where you finally breathe out. That is the question. And the answer is not the one you would expect. If that Tuesday night feeling is yours, you are in enormous company. According to a 2025 ADP workplace report, about half of all Australian workers are living paycheck to paycheck. And this is the part that surprises people. It is not just the ones on low incomes. It runs all the way up the ladder. Good salaries, professional jobs, 1 in 2. The buffer behind us is wafer thin too. The Australian Bureau of Statistics says that in early 2026, households saved just 6.2 cents in every dollar. 6.2%. A 2026 survey by money.com.au went further. More than 1 in 4 Australians have nothing left at all once payday clears, not a dollar spare. So here is what nobody tells you. That feeling is not really about your age or your income. It moves with you through life. It just keeps changing shape. Let me show you what I mean. Let us walk through a typical Australian life, stage by stage, and watch how the same tight feeling shows up at everyone, wearing a different costume each time. Start in your early 20s. You've got your first proper job. Maybe you are on the minimum wage, which in 2026 is around $52,000 a year, full-time. Then rent lands. In Sydney, the median house rent is now around $800 a week. Even a room in a share house takes a savage bite. At this stage, it is simple. There is not enough. So you climb. Better job, better pay, and you set your sights on the great Australian dream, a place of your own. Now every spare dollar has a job. It goes to the deposit, and the deposit is enormous. Money.com.au puts the average home deposit at around $173,000. So you feel broke again, but this time on purpose. Then the day comes, you get the keys, and the deposit stress vanishes, replaced instantly by something bigger. The mortgage. The average new home loan in Australia is around $735,000, says the Bureau of Statistics in 2026. On a typical rate, that is roughly $4,300 a month. So the pay rise you fought for does not reach your pocket. It goes straight to the bank. Same tight feeling. New owner. Now add children. And this is where it gets truly hard for a lot of Australian families. Because kids do not just cost love and sleep, they cost cash. Straight away. Childcare is the first shock. The national average for long day care is around $140 a day before the subsidy kicks in. Even after the childcare subsidy, a few days a week still hurts. And often one income drops at the same time. During parental leave, more going out, less coming in. Then, just as childcare ends, school begins. Uniforms, excursions, devices, fees. The bills simply change their name. By your 40s and 50s, you are earning the most you ever have. This should be the easy part, but somehow it is not. Because the mortgage, the teenagers, the 2 cars, the cost of living, and a bit of quiet lifestyle creep all peak together. From the street, it looks like you have made it. Behind the door, it is repayments. And then finally the kids move out. The mortgage shrinks. For many Australians, this is when the pressure eases at last. But a new worry quietly takes its place. Have I saved enough to retire? So here is the uncomfortable truth. There is no magic salary. There is no magic age. The feeling does not fade on its own because at every stage, something new expands to fill the space. And this is not because you are bad with money. It is how the whole system is built. Costs quietly rise to meet your income automatically, unless you do one of 2 things on purpose. The first option is the obvious one. Earn more. Widen the gap by bringing more money in. And there are really only two ways to pull that off. The first is to back yourself at work, ask for the pay rise, chase the promotion. And here is a very Australian problem. We hate talking about money, so we sit quietly and never ask. That silence has a price. The second is a side income, a weekend trade job, tutoring, selling a skill online, renting out the spare room, driving or delivering a few nights a week, small streams that widen the gap. But there is a catch, and it is a big one. Earning more only works if you keep the difference. If your spending rises to match, you just run faster on the same treadmill. More in, more out, still nothing spare. Which brings us to the second option, and this really is the one that changes everything. It costs nothing to start, and it works at any income, at any stage. Think about how most of us handle money. It comes in. We pay the rent, the bills, the shopping, the fun, and whatever is left at the very end becomes our savings. The problem is obvious once you see it. There is almost never anything left. The spending always finds a way to fill the space. Saving becomes an afterthought every single time. So flip it. The moment your pay lands, you move your savings out first, into a separate account before you spend a cent. Then you live on what is left. You pay yourself first. It feels backwards for a pay cycle or two. Then something quiet happens. Your spending shrinks to fit what remains. You adapt, like you always do, and for once the gap is yours, not the bank's. So how much should you take out first? A common benchmark from Australian financial planners is 20% of your income. $1 in every 5, gone before you can touch it. But do not let that number scare you off. If 20% feels impossible right now, start with 2 or $30 a payday. The habit matters far more than the amount at the start. The real trick is to make it automatic. Set up a transfer for the day you are paid. Split it into buckets if you like. One for savings, one for bills, one for fun. You never see it, so you never miss it. So let us go back to that Tuesday night, phone in hand, 3 days from payday, doing the sum in your head. The real answer is this. The thing that stops you living paycheck to paycheck was never a salary, and it was never an age. It is a gap, a slice you keep before life claims the rest. A person on 60,000 who pays themselves first will quietly get ahead of someone on 150 who does not. That is not a motivational line. That is just the maths. You are not behind. You are on the same treadmill as almost everyone else. And you can step off it this payday with one transfer. No raise required. If this made something click, give it a like. It really helps this type of content reach more Australians who need to hear it. Subscribe and switch on notifications so the next one finds you. Take care of yourself, and I will see you soon.